Well, a common criticism of German car makers is that they've been too slow to move toward electric vehicles, losing ground to competitors from the US or China. But the German auto industry has invested billions of euros in development, and it appears to gradually be catching up. Now, every sixth electric vehicle worldwide, including plug-in hybrids, now comes from a German producer. Now, that's according to a new market study by consulting firm PwC. The undisputed top market for electric vehicles is and remains China. A total of around 730,000 new electric vehicles sold there in the second quarter alone. In a distant second place, the U.S. with about 300,000, and then followed by Germany right behind, again, according to this new study by PwC. And for more on that study, I'm joined by Steven van Arsdale. He's an auto analyst with PwC. Steven, it's great to have you on the show. I want to start by talking about this question of the market in China. If we look at the top sellers when it comes to electric autos, German cars don't appear to be even in the top 10. Correct me if I'm wrong. What will it take for them to crack that level?
Right. Well, I think one of the things with the Chinese consumers, they're less loyal than what we have in other markets, and they're also very tech-driven. So technology is a huge aspect. That's where it's important that the new models are going to have a lot of these autonomous driving features, or autonomous parking and steering. These kind of things are critical, but of course also the competitive range and performance.
These are features that Tesla has, for example, but the ID.4 does not have. I've gathered that's one reason why it hasn't sold quite as well as expected in China to this point.
Right, and I think some of these brands are testing new dealer models because it is a new line of vehicles, of course, and so they're looking at what some have done and what's been successful, and looking at new solutions as to what can be the best way to sell these cars. Because you have now more of this concept of shopping in the mall for the car as opposed to a traditional dealership per se, especially for the electric vehicles.
What role does price point play in China when we're looking at some vehicle models? I believe the best selling is around $5,000, the best selling electric. I believe that's Wuling Hongguang. And then you look at Tesla as much as high as, I believe, $38,000 before the rebate. And then the ID.4 comes in somewhere around $31,000. What do we see? Is there room for the higher end models as well?
Yeah, like you said, clearly there's the majority, a lot of the models are coming on the low end and really for city use. Because that's where you really have the government cracking down from an emission point of view. But yeah, there's definitely room. We've seen success from other models in the higher priced area, as you mentioned with Tesla. There's definitely space there, although they've also had some challenges. And when we look at what's happening with price increases there versus the US, for example, we can see that the market's a little bit more, it's a bit trickier there at the moment.
Very briefly, one last question. What does it mean for a producer like Volkswagen to try and switch to more software-savvy cars? How big of a hurdle has that been for this car maker?
Yeah, it's moving to this kind of Silicon Valley mentality. And for a large company that has a lot of history, that's a major change to then go from, rethinking the entire way the company operates and moving at a faster pace and having your engineers, trying to have them work in a different environment, because if they're tech driven, they work and have a different way of working than an engineer that's coming from a traditional powertrain background, for example.
We'll have to leave it there. Steven van Arsdale with PwC. Thank you very much.